People have problems, and if you don't have a solution for it, then then there's a real problem.
You become stuck.
You become stuck, right?
Yeah.
And we're here to make sure that people don't feel stuck. Everyone's needs are different. Everyone's goals are different, and we're here to talk about all of that. That money has to be moved.
Yeah.
And that's where the IRS, the government, comes in, and they want their share. Move Money Safely name comes from that. It stems from that, and how do you move that money safely?
This is not going to move forward until we all together understand that this is the right decision for the client on the long-term basis.
Correct.
And that was really impressive.
It is.
The only way that they were able to make sure their mom got what she needed was to unload the real estate and transfer those funds to make sure that that living facility was going to get paid on time, every month.
Yeah, but that wasn't their initial plan. At first, they wanted to rent.
They wanted to rent
$4,000 a month, $5,000 a month. So the family would have had to come out of pocket to pay for the difference.
Welcome to the Move Money Safely show with myself, Anita
and Ariocha Salas.
And we're excited to come together collectively to bring you on this journey as we discuss real estate
and financial services.
And we're so excited to be here because we have a wealth of information as well as education. My husband, my handsome husband, who decided to collaborate business with me together, has really found a need in the market with real estate. And so one of the key values and key components to this show is to be able to be here and talk about real life scenarios that my husband and myself have been experiencing in real estate today. What do I say, honey? Before I used to say we were knee deep in conversation with these clients.
Now we're all the way in. Yeah.
Now
we're all the way in. And we're here to solve those problems, and we have solutions. That's the most exciting part is, people have problems, and if you don't have a solution for it, then there's a real problem.
You become stuck.
You become stuck, right?
Yeah.
And we're here to make sure that people don't feel stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what you're going to get here in this show is ultimately hearing real life events. We may even bring on some of our past clients. Collectively, we have a network of people that help support the solutions that we give to our clients. There's no cookie cutter situation in life. I firmly believe, if you're in our industry in front of a lot of people where you have to find a solution, everyone has a different scenario and there's different tailored solutions to everything. So
definitely, everyone is unique, right? And everyone has not only is their problem unique, but their goals might be different, right? There's the person that might want to join in, or where they want to go in their retirement might be somewhere different. Someone might want to move out of state. Someone might want to move back in with their family. Someone might have to go live at a facility that will need to take care of them. So everyone's needs are different. Everyone's goals are different. And, we're here to talk about all of that.
Yeah, we're really excited to start first with this episode. We're going to dive in just a little bit about ourselves, give you a proper introduction of who we are. And we'd love for you to stay with us because this will be a really amazing journey. We firmly believe in this time now with the largest wealth movement in history, you're gonna gain a wealth of information that could help you. It could help your family members. It could help somebody you may know, coworkers, friends, neighbors. And, we felt so restricted to just giving this information to the person sitting across the table from us while we're in a listing appointment or in a financial services appointment. So now, we want to get this information out to as many people as possible so we can help as many people as we can.
Yeah. And I think that's where our name came from, right? Mm-hmm. Move Money Safely. So we sat and we kind of talked about, what is it we're doing for people, mm-hmm. right? And, we're talking about moving money, whether you're moving this from what my wife does, and she's been doing it for a long time. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. I won't age you, but she's been doing real estate very well for some time. And, that money moves, right? Whether you're going to move it into new real estate or into something different, then it's moved. And whether you have retirement funds or you're selling even crypto, right? This is the new thing mm-hmm. that in the last 15, 20 years, people have crypto. While that money stays in crypto, there's probably no taxes that you pay, but there comes a time when you want to access that money and use that for real estate or use that for a different investment opportunity that comes across. And that money has to be moved.
Yeah.
And that's where the IRS, the government comes in and they want their share. So we're going to talk about that. And our Move Money Safely name comes from that. It stems from that. And how do you move that money safely?
And to your point about, having access to money, and that's how we've felt for years in real estate, right? So a lot of people that we've sat down with, I mean, maybe I will age myself, but, I came out of high school right into the real estate industry. And even back then, but more so today, people wanted to access the money in their homes, but it's not like you could just cut out a hole in the wall and grab the cash out of your,
Actually, one time I did get some money out of a wall. This was in Mexico. I don't know if I ever told you, but in Mexico City, I was at an airport.
I think you did it twice.
No, I think it was just once. But yeah, I reached in and there was a hole in the wall, and I don't know what told me to put my hand in there, but I pulled it out and there was a few $100s in there. It was kind of
my goodness. Wow. Wait, you were in Mexico?
Yeah, Mexico City.
You probably took
on my way back from Havana.
You probably took somebody's drug money.
Maybe. I got out of that bathroom really quick.
Yeah, good for you. So, sitting with these clients and again, this used to be just a conversation we would have every once in a while. Now we're sitting in front of clients and getting phone calls from people that are asking for help on how they can access the equity. And most of the time they feel stuck because there's a lot of resources out there that do numbers of things. For instance, a CPA will tell.
I think before we get all, we need to slow down here a little bit.
Okay.
Let's I'm going to talk about you. Right. So my wife, beautiful, amazing realtor. Right. So I know that when I first met her, she was new in real estate. So, we've known each other for a while. But over the years, I have seen not just how professional she is, but the way she markets, the way she talks to her clients, the way she cares to make sure that her clients have the best, whether it's just the little things, even the staging. She hires these professional stagers and she goes in after them and moves pillows around, asks me to help move pictures around. So she is a perfectionist when it comes to— I really
do that so you can get used to doing it at home.
Okay, that could be it. But as far as the real estate side, so my wife is an amazing realtor. She cares. She is very organized when it comes to her real estate, not so much at home, but—
How dare you?
Yes,
That's
I know.
cool.
But in her real estate transactions, she is very organized. And not only that, she trains and helps a lot of her colleagues in real estate, whether it's with the paperwork and the transactions, because before she did real estate, you were I think the
transaction coordinator.
Transaction coordinator. So that is the person that helps the realtor with all the paperwork. So she is an expert at documents and paperwork and contracts. And I see her constantly, realtors that are in her office asking her about, is this done correctly? Can you look over my paperwork? And that is really important in today's age when the contracts are very important. If you leave something out, you're leaving yourself open for, open for just mistakes. And those are things that my wife is, an expert at, I would say. So
thank you.
So, we're going to blend her expertise in real estate and the knowledge of
the financial services. So let me explain why this works out so good. And it doesn't always just work out for anyone, but it works out really good for you and I because you come from a financial background. And so not only have you been in finance for a really long time where you've helped people finance their homes, you've helped in the financial departments in the car industry. You've been a general manager where you've seen financial, aspects of a large companies. So now that we're in, and not only, you have your own real estate financial experience, but on investing and now that you have all of this information together over, and I don't want to age you,
it's a lot longer than you, but yes.
Stop. But I mean, I think collectively with our information together on the real estate and the finance side, but more so I think why this works for us is because we're on the same journey together to help people get in a better position than when we found them. And for me, I was very limited in real estate. But when you saw the need of these clients that I'm helping and you saw that I was very limited I would always refer that financial side out, which this person actually always took care of my clients. You knew that I needed something more within arm's length reach. And that ended up being you, which the past, year and a half has been so good for our clients, because it's like they have two of the best worlds underneath one house, where they can get the questions answered faster, get straight to the point, and get moving on putting them in a better position financially than when we found them. And you do such a good job at answering the questions. I mean, because I know all the things, right? I know how to speak to, all of the stuff that we'll go into later on, which is, deferring tax, how to save money, how to make sure to not ever run out of money after you sell your house. But you come across with not only the knowledge and the experience from yourself, from your past experiences in corporate industries, and then from also being a business owner, you can relate to anyone that we're talking to. So, the dentists that we're dealing with today, I love this story, and I hope to share this story in the future. But my father-in-law came from Cuba, and he was a dentist. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like when you're talking to somebody, you do a really good job at finding the way to relate with them, because not only because you have the experience, you have more years on me and experience, but you can always see where they're at, and you can always find a way to generally say, hey, you know what? I understand where you're coming from, and you do such a good job at bringing yourself to their level where they feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you in person do this, so I can genuinely say that. And I think that's why it works.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's definitely one of the things that makes this work. And then the other one is, where they want to go, right? Mm-hmm. We're here to help. I think that both of us are givers in that we want to make sure people are doing better, and we're helping them achieve their goals.
Yeah.
Right? So that's really important. That's what really drives me is, people have, like the client we're helping today that we were at their house this morning, and mm-hmm. she has three pieces of real estate, right? Mm-hmm. She has 3 houses, but she doesn't feel, and she has a lot of equity, but she doesn't feel.
She's a millionaire.
She's a millionaire in real estate, but she had less than $1,000 in her bank account, right? She doesn't know how she's going to pay certain bills. The money comes in, the money goes out. And there's people like that mm-hmm. today. And we're going to help her out. I mean, that's, she is.
So let's talk about that full story, because I think it's important from the beginning to end. And how this person that ultimately she was a referral. Yep. And, referrals, especially her, she worked hard all her life, called a realtor and wanted some information. She missed our first appointment, missed even the second appointment, but I continued to follow up. And on the third phone call, she said, no, Mija, I think I'm just going to rent. And I said, oh, okay. I was like, no problem. But I knew that her house had a very low mortgage on it, and she had a lot of equity, and
that's the key. It's the equity, right? So,
yeah.
And this is something that we talk about to our clients, because people don't seem to grasp. They think that I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to pay it off, and the rental income is going to be my retirement money, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And then we show them mm-hmm. something different, right? If you're, there comes a time in real estate where your equity mm-hmm. will trump.
Right.
I use that word, trump. Trump
oversee.
The money. Oversee. Will surpass. I guess is the right word. It will surpass. The equity will surpass what it can achieve mm-hmm. over the rent. Right.
Exactly.
So, if you have $100,000 or $200,000 in equity and you're receiving $4,000 or $5,000 in rent, well, the $4,000 or $5,000 in rent is probably better than the money that we can put to work for you. But mm-hmm. now, if that is $2 million or $3 million in equity, mm-hmm. the rent's still the same. You're still receiving $5,000 in rent, right?
Yeah.
But that $3 million or that $2 million can generate a lot more money than the $60,000 a year, and that's 2 or 3 times, 4 times as much. So that's where we show people, and they're like, "Wow."
Yeah. So when we were sitting down with our client, and I said, "Hey, can I give you apples to apples what your house would get in rent versus selling it, and what that money looks like outside of your house in a high yield interest account that you can have access to?" Because right now she was like, "Oh, I can't even qualify for a home equity line. I couldn't even qualify for X, Y, and Z because she ran businesses and unfortunately they went under and her credit was a little shot. So I said, let's do this. Let me just sit in front of you and bring my husband, who's a financial consultant, and we can just have a conversation to find out where you're at today and how we can maybe put a game plan together for you so you have something to look forward to. It doesn't matter to me if you're looking to sell today or in 6 months or in 2 years, but I just want to make sure that I talk to you and I knew exactly where your situation is because you're telling me, and I left you with a plan. And so when we went to her house, it was so interesting because we actually went to her house that she wasn't going to sell.
Yeah.
She let us know that this is the house that I have that I'm going to rent out, and I have these other 2 houses. And then so what did you do? We kind of...
Well, she invited us for ceviche.
She did invite it. She invited us for ceviche. It was probably one of the best ceviches I've ever had, to be honest with you.
So that's how we went to the other house, and then
yeah,
that's the house that's on the market now.
That's the house on the market. But it was only because we took the time. That appointment was about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, because we ate, so 2.5. But we did exactly what you're so good at, is you're really good at finding people's pain points. And not everyone's willing to open up right away, but you're really, really good at bringing yourself down to her situation, letting her know, hey, you know what? I mean, we survived the 08 and 09 together, and we've had businesses during that time, and we remembered that feeling, what it felt like. And so we brought ourselves down to her and said, hey, you know what? We know, we understand, we've been there, but can we show you some solutions? And you popped open your laptop and you right away gave her illustrations and some numbers. And do you remember what she said to you?
Remind me.